This is Nadisha in Chicago, and you're watching my channel Knowledge for Quality of Life. Friends, today we are going to be talking about a condition which affects people somewhere between 25 to 45% in the world, depending on where person is situated geographically. And it's a condition which affects the largest organ in our body, that is liver. Now, there is a test which each and every doctor normally performs on our annual physical blood work. And that is what we call CMP, Complete Metabolic Panel. And these test gives you a variety of things. And there are two enzymes which is listed here. And sometimes it gets overlooked. It starts creeping up, and we'll look into it, that what are those, and how we can protect our liver, because liver is a powerhouse in our body. It does numerous things. One of the best detoxifying organ, which we have given a gift from nature. So we have to do everything in our power to protect it and in best performing condition. Before I go into the detail, I would request all my viewers that if you like what I share here, put your comments, participate in this community dialogue, and if you think of any topic which I may have overlooked unintentionally, bring it up. Put in the comment. I may cover a separate vlog on that. And any issue which you think that you are having a difficulty in digging up information, I may be able to, because this is my gift of nature. I've been given, I dig pretty good. I'm very, very vivid, research oriented person. So I may bring it out to your attention and share some literature, without recommending anything, of course, as I always say, and I can share with you the information, and you can read up on it, and you can have a dialogue with your doctors. And also, I would like to welcome all those who recently joined the channel, and be a part of the community of this learning group. I welcome you all. And I do request you to share as much as this knowledge possible within your network, so that other people can benefit out of it. Let me go to my sharing screen. This condition which I'm going to be talking about today is called, it's of course it's related to liver, but it's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. As I said, that it affects people somewhere between 25 to 45% where you are situated in the world. It's a pretty common issue amongst people, all sorts of people, and it's very silent. There's no sign as such unless it gets too late. And one can monitor on a regular basis. Like I monitor on a yearly basis, as I said, in looking at those enzymes, and we will talk about it in a short bit. So this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease stands for, and this acronym, it stands for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Is a condition, when we have excessive fat buildup in the liver cells, and the liver gets fatty, and then it spits out an enzyme, a sort of enzymes in the liver, in the blood, so that it gives you a signal that hey, your liver is deposited with excessive fat. Because when we consume certain amount of calories, those calories get stored in the fat cells. Now fat cells, when they are full, of course liver can get rid of some, but if it's an excessive amount, it gets stored in the liver, and then it shows up as a fatty liver issue. So primary root causes are obesity. It doesn't mean that a person has to be obese. A slim person can have a fatty liver disease. Insulin resistance, often linked to diabetes type 2, high cholesterol, Particularly, remember that when I say high cholesterol, particularly I'm emphasizing here is higher triglyceride. And people who are from Asia, including Pakistan, Far East, India, the type of lifestyle that we lead, high carb diet, high seed oils, high sugar content in our food, consumption of processed foods, that leads to high triglycerides. So, and particularly the belly fat. And in female, normally fat gets stored in the buttocks and thighs. So, and male have large bellies. So that's a sign of insulin resistance, because that's a metabolic syndrome right there. What we can do to reverse NAFLD, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Focus on the lifestyle change, losing some weight, losing your triglyceride, lowering, in which we have been talking about in various various vlogs in the past. I've been tackling individual conditions. Now, when you look at my vlog, as I said previously, that you have to see in totality. Because in one vlog we have short time, I cannot cover everything and come up with a silver bullet. So this is like one piece of the puzzle, because we are looking today the liver being as an organ in its proper functions for overall health. And balanced diet, rich in fruits. Of course, when we talk about rich in fruits, means if you have an issue of triglyceride, if you have an issue of insulin resistance, of course you have to pick those fruits which are low glycemic load foods, means low glycemic index and the low carb amount. Vegetables, whole grain. If you have again insulin resistance, you have to be very picky in grain diet, because they tend to increase your triglyceride and small LDLP. And it affects your of course liver and your atherosclerosis as well. Regular exercise, this is very important, as we discussed last time. And managing underlying conditions like diabetes, monitoring typically done through blood tests, like as I said, liver enzymes, which we'll talk about it. And sometimes, liver enzymes are giving you an indication that there is something going on. Then, doctor can recommend MRI and ultrasound, and sometimes as a third stage, we can, be recommended by a doctor that to perform the biopsy of the liver to just verify that what the state is. So this is a summary basically, but if I were to break it down, a buildup of fat, as I said, liver cells, and it's not caused due to excessive alcohol consumption. This is a lifestyle driven. Very seldom it's genetically driven, but again, if somebody is predisposed to a genetic variation, of course that person has to be very, very careful, extra careful in lifestyle adaptation. Root causes is, as I said, obesity, especially abdominal fat, bigger bellies, insulin resistance associated with type 2, high cholesterol, particularly triglyceride, because I believe that 150 threshold value of triglyceride is pretty generous. I personally don't like it. I used to be about 6-7 years ago at around 85-90. I brought it down to 45. I'm standing at 45 right now. So the better your triglycerides are, because triglyceride is nothing but fat in the lipids. So you have to control that TG value. High blood pressure, I haven't talked about it yet. I'll be doing separate vlog on blood pressure as well. Family history, genetic predisposition. Unhealthy diet, high saturated fats, sugar, and processed food, as I said. How to reverse naturally? Weight loss, of course. Losing even small percentage of body weight can significantly improve liver health. Now, when somebody loses weight, now it's not improving your liver health. You're indirectly improving the liver health, but you are improving your triglyceride. You are improving everything. You are becoming more insulin sensitive. So it impacts the liver and overall its well-being. Diet modification, eat a balanced diet with plenty of fruits. As I said, that low glycemic load fruits, particularly if you're insulin sensitive, insulin resistant, and if you are on the high side of a triglyceride, you have to be very picky in picking your fruits and vegetables. Whole grain, again, as I said, that if you are insulin resistant, or you are borderline, or you're higher in triglyceride, you have to be restrictive yourself, in the grain business, because grains tends to increase your particularly refined flours and all those wheat, and it doesn't matter, it's oat or any type of grain. But little bit controlled portion is the key, because normally people are driven by calorie intake, that how many calories you are taking. The calorie intake, calorie always doesn't reflect the nutrition rich diet. Your diet should be nutrient dense, towards nutrition rather than calorie based, because your focus should be nutrition, not the calories. So if you take excessive calories and you don't burn, of course it gets stored in the form of fat, and that fat is going to increase your triglyceride. It's going to end up in liver, and you will end up in higher liver enzymes in the blood, showing the fatty liver issue. And limit saturated fat, but no trans fat. Of course, nowadays, everybody is banning the trans fat, but still there are places maybe on the planet, people are consuming still trans fat. So you have to be very mindful of it. Reduce sugar intake. Sugar is basically addictive, and it's like a slow poison, at least to me. Regular exercise, aim at least, as I said last vlog, 150 minutes, moderate to, rigorous walking is the best thing. Almost 5 days or 7 days, if you can do it, it will help you in everything. Manage underlying condition like high blood pressure and, diabetes. Now, those are the tests which I've been talking about, complete metabolic panel. There are two enzymes which reflects in that test. One is ALT, it's an acronym, ALT, and the second one is AST. Now, these two enzymes needs to be looked on a periodic basis on an annual blood work. When your doctor does the CMP, make sure that even though he doesn't or she doesn't see it, but you as an individual, because at the end of the day, it's your health. You have to keep monitoring and draw a trend line, create an Excel spreadsheet, or if you are on MyChart or any type of app platform, it can do it for you, and see what the trend is. Is it increasing? Is it downward? Is it pretty much same? And modify your lifestyle accordingly, which we have been talking about here. So this ALT and AST needs to be monitored. These are the liver enzymes which liver spits out when it becomes fat deposition condition. If it starts depositing fat, it releases those enzymes in the blood, because as I said in my previous vlogs, that nature is amazing, that it has left checks and balances in our human body, and we have to monitor this, because there is no language which a body can speak so that we can understand. It just tells you in a certain way, and those certain ways is monitoring by blood test, nothing else. Because anything which you guess is a guess, and guess doesn't work, because if you monitor by testing, you can calibrate it, you can fix it by reversing it, or vice versa, because if it doesn't get monitored, it gets overlooked, and then things are going to get in the wrong direction. If the elevated enzymes are there, and doctor gets suspicious, he may recommend the MRI or ultrasound of the liver. And if that gets validated, and then he may or she may recommend a biopsy of the liver to verify that you are having a fatty liver conditions, and try to reverse it. As I said, let me stop here, share here. Try to adapt a lifestyle modification. That's the first line which I normally prefer before getting to any medication, because this is the chance that you can fix it, because these are all majority of the time lifestyle issues, because the amount of junk which we are consuming worldwide, because life has become so fast that we've been eating left and right whatever we can get our hands to, because we don't have any time in making the meals from the scratch, and we are buying things as a ready-made product, and they are putting so many things in the food, which we are not aware of, just to increase the shelf life, and those shelf life chemicals and preservatives are ending up in our body, and it's going to reflect over time. It's not overnight. It takes time to show up, and by the time it shows up, sometimes it's too late. So I request all of my viewers that if you have any concerns, any questions, and it's a discipline. I'm not expecting anybody to change overnight, but at the end of the day, it's your health. You are dependent on your loved ones. Your loved ones are dependent on you. So think about beyond yourself. Think about your families. Think about your loved ones. How much they love you, and try to get motivation from that perspective. Because sometimes I discuss this thing with my sometimes relatives, and I've heard many times that you only live for once, so enjoy. I get it. I get that. Enjoy, but at what cost? You have to underwrite all the risk which are associated with it, and try to balance it out. There is no there is no cut and short answer, yes or right, yes or no, right or wrong, but there's a gray area, and you have to really walk in a balanced way. With this, I will leave you until the next vlog, and hopefully see you next week.